We're back again. It's the 7th episode of SHAGCAST. We're back on an awesome Wednesday evening. What a change. What a fun little change. What a interesting turn of events in life. But I'm here, and I suppose a lot has happened over the past week or so. A lot's been happening in the news. And I suppose, like any good commentator, we got to talk about some of that stuff. And really, I think one of the big focuses for tonight is going to be Rumble and X have filed a lawsuit against. Oh my God, what's going on here? Why didn't my thing update? That's weird. Let me mess with this real quick. Oh, it did update. My StreamYard just dumb. Anywho, a lot's happened in the news over the past week, and for those who have been here for a little bit, know that this show, SHAGCAST, has been sort of a placeholder for other things that I may or may not want to do. I don't know if we're going to continue on SHAGCAST. I like it. It's a great way to do some commentating on things that are going on in the world. It's a good break from having to do panel shows. I can do my own thing. I can do it slow. And tonight, so the main focus we're gonna do tonight is Rumble and X. They filed a lawsuit against Google. We're gonna talk about that a lot. There's a lot of political stuff that's been happening. The election's starting to heat up. Vice President Harris, she announced her running mate in the race to be president. So that is that was interesting. So that's stirred up a lot of people. It's gotten people, it's ruffled some feathers. So as you can imagine, conservatives are doing their damage control on making sure they smear him as much as possible. And then of course, the left is doing what they can to smear JD Vance at every turn. It's not childish at all. It's not childish at all. Because politics are never, ever childish. Ever. Before we get started, real quick, if you guys don't know, I jumped on the MetaPC's affiliate team. If you guys want to be a part of an amazing company, if you want to contribute to an amazing company, one that has really catered to gamers, creators, and those looking to have the top of the line desktop and laptop, you can configure or buy pre-builts from MetaPCs. Is a local company. All their stuff is made right here in the US. Please think about supporting them. The link down in my description, you can click that link. It'll bring you to metapcs.com, and you can use my code at checkout, which is Shags on the scrolling bar below. Definitely want to support them. You are supporting a really good guy. Zach Shutt has been a part of this channel on several occasions. He's been here for the midweek hump. He's been on Ready, Set, Shag. I've been able to sit down with him. He's local to my area. He is just an amazing guy. Support him. Support what he is trying to do. MetaPCs.com. Check the link in the description. Make sure you use my code on checkout. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say. That's the only it. That's it. I will stand for them all day long. They're awesome people. Where are we at? Chat's here. Arkasul's here. Says, yeah, what's up, dude? Good to see you, Ark. Thank you for joining. King Deplorables is the happiest person in chat right now. He says, hi. Good to see you, bro. Madhouse Retro Gaming. What's going on, dude? Says, shalom. Cheers, brother. We are live on both of my YouTube platforms, Shags Live, and right here on my main channel. And we're also live over on Twitch, twitch.tv/TheShagsworth. Depending on where you want to watch, feel free to watch wherever you'd like. I can see all the chats right here. I'm done chilling. We can talk about some stuff. Hope everyone's doing well. I know this is a change. I know there's going to be growing pains with this particular format. And quite honestly, I appreciate everyone for everything. I appreciate you guys sticking it out. And where is, oh, that's not it. I appreciate you guys sticking it out and bearing with me, because I'm trying to do a bunch of stuff. And if you don't know, I've also taken on the extra responsibility on top of my full on day job to learn to code and get into game dev. Madhouse Retro Gamers, is that Star Trek's the TNG poster behind it? Yeah, that's the original, like the 1985 TNG poster. My wife got that for me, I think 2 Christmases ago. Yeah. What I need to do is bring that to like a con and get like Nichelle Nichols to sign it, and like Walter Koenig, because I think both of them are alive, and then Shatner, if he's ever around. Like, that's what I need to get them to sign that. Well, I guess they're not in that, but I would like them to sign it. I don't know why I said that. Anywho, yeah, I know it's gonna be growing pains for some not having the midweek hump here. But this is what I need to do, what I want to do. I'm excited. The format will be similar. There's not going to be 5 or 6 people here. There won't be 5 or 6 people here. It'll be me talking about stuff. It'll be me talking about some of the stuff out there. We're not going to jump right into the Rumble X stuff, because that's a little bit more drawn out. I do want to bring up some of the other stuff that I'm seeing across the interwebs. Let me grab my bookmarks. What's up, Jack Tarla? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Hey, Mephisto movie reviews. It's on listen mode. All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you for joining. I said election season's really ramping up here. And one of the things that I find unbearable in election time is like the mudslinging that happens. It doesn't, I don't know. It's just the same. Like, once you've seen it over and over again, you realize, like, this is just how it is. This is what happens. Okay. Jack Charlotte says, "Why no hump? I lose internet for 1 week and the whole world goes crazy." It's we ended the midweek hump, 114 episodes, and the show has come to the end. It is we have finished our run of the midweek hump. Sad, but I needed, there was a lot that contributed to the decision. It's hard to get into here live, but I assure you it was not something that was easy to do, but it just seemed like the right time given a lot of different circumstances, and one of which was I need to focus a lot on what I'm doing, because I haven't given myself that like real opportunity, and this was the time I thought, like, I need to really hone in my voice and focus on what I want out of content creation, because my channel was honestly grown on the midweek hump, and to that end, I'm so incredibly grateful to our team, and to have to stop was just not the easiest choice, but it was necessary because I wanted people who came here to understand who the Shagsworth was, and what his opinion on things were, and not just necessarily like, okay, this is what everyone's saying, and because of that, like that, like he just agrees with everyone else. Because there's plenty of stuff that we maybe have talked about and I didn't really agree on, but I didn't really want to debate on stuff. So it was like more like, oh, let's let it all go. Shags is so aggressive. Yeah. I ruined it. He caused all the drama. He was a tyrant, totally serious. Mm. But no, it's hard, very hard decision, Jack. And thank you. I thank you. I appreciate it. Things will go well. I'm not upset about. I mean, I'm bummed, but at the same time, like, this is a great opportunity for growth. It's one of those things, like, I'm sure we'll see a backslide a little bit, but overall, I'm super stoked on where we could go from here. So, but yeah, the election season is starting to break people, and one of the things that is, like, every single year, the older you get, the more you realize that election seasons are just, they're times for one side to call the other side names, and it's so difficult to really get behind and support. Like, that's again why I think a lot of, like, apathy is starting to set in with people. And one thing I was trying to talk about last week is, it almost seems part of the plan. The idea of just browbeat people constantly till they just don't care anymore, and they give up on it. So then that way, those who do have the power can do as they wish and do as they please. And that's the scary part of it all. And I don't want to feel that way, because I think everyone has a responsibility to be involved. But I think it better serves people to be involved in their local elections. These national elections are a big distraction for the things that are really, really important. So, but we're made to believe, I think, that the important thing is pay attention to your presidential election, because the person who's president, that's who makes the difference. It isn't like it's only like the first couple of months that like, the most action happens within the first couple of months of a presidency. And after that, it's just sort of like, I'm campaigning for next time. John D says elections mean nothing if they don't stop cheating. Yeah, there's a lot of suspicious things happening with all of this. Like, I don't want to say one way or the other necessarily, but I do. It doesn't seem legitimate a lot of times, and that's worrisome. When people lose faith in elections, or in the process of it, the voting systems, that's when you start really having a big issue. It's hard enough getting people to the polls, let alone, like, you know what I mean? Then you're throwing the doubt in there. It's not good. It's not a good mixture. Yeah, and I don't understand the idea of why it's so controversial to require voter ID. Now, don't get me wrong. All the IDs that you have, like, all of these things, I need identification for this, identification for that. Like, it would be better almost to have something worked into your actual, like, driver's license, like your official government ID. Like, can we put, like, a little barcode, an extra barcode on there, something that I can just scan that, beep, done, and just give everyone a deadline on making sure they get that updated and changed by the time, maybe it's not this election, but maybe it's the next election. But I do think having some sort of verification that you are who you are in order is like how we need to go about it. If we're required to have IDs for many things. Right. They already have the Real ID framework. Just transfer that. Like I said, a lot of it, you just probably need to add, like, an additional barcode on the back of your actual driver's license, your government ID. But there's also this narrative, this discussion about how certain people are unable to access IDs, which, again, I call bullshit on. I don't believe that. So there's an interesting video I saw on Twitter. I'm going to pull it up here so we can all see. So it looks like Cori Bush lost her election. She had words. Let's have a look. Let's turn it down a little bit because I'm sure it's about to be real loud. Okay. And I didn't put it on screen, so we're going to boomer that.
As much as I love my job, but all they did was radicalize me, and so now they need to be afraid.
So all they did was radicalize me, and now they need to be afraid. Again, this is one of those things that, like, oh, here's some more.
AIPAC, I'm coming to tear your kingdom down.
Like, I mean, the funny thing about this is how she's walking up on stage like she's about to drop a new rap video or something. Like, it's kind of annoying to watch. So AIPAC is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. So, but yeah, just big mad over how, you know, she lost her election. And again, you know, if you do your job, if you show your constituents, the people you're representing, that you're capable of doing the work and representing them, they will reelect you. If you don't, they won't. Like, I don't know why this is like such a thing. It's not anyone else's fault. It's your fault. You represent your constituents. If you're not doing that job, game over, done. You lose. But all this talk, all this like, oh, I'm going to come tear this thing down. I'm going to burn it down. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. Like, it's for this, right? It's for these shows. It's for people to make videos of them and to blast them all over the internet and make them, to keep them in the limelight for another 15 minutes. So they can feel like they're going to be somebody, or they are somebody. And and everyone, like, both sides do it. Just don't make any mistake about it. Conservatives and liberals do this all the time. They overreact on things. They speak hyperbolically, and they don't really mean what they say. And it's, you know, John D said it's to anger a younger generation. Absolutely. And it's not to say that, you know, I mean, rallying people for the right reasons because something was certainly amiss, I think is 100% on the nose and can be done. But this, and a lot of other politicians out there are doing this because it's trendy, because it gets the clicks, it gets people talking. It gets them to show up at protests that they have no clue as to why they're there. Because then they can put a sign in their hands and then they're saying, oh, I'm here to support this thing. Well, don't you know that means something? Oh, I don't really know. Oh, it's just too bad, because I do think people have agency. I really do. I do think people have agency, but I think a big problem is the internet has had lots of influence over people, a lot of influence over people. You hear a thing enough and it becomes what you believe to be true. Sorry, I'm not even being racist. I'm half black. I don't, I know how the hood chicks operate. Well, you know, yeah, I mean, any amount of black in you can't be racist. That's the thing. You cannot, at least TikTok told me that if you are one of color, you are incapable of being racist. But if you are white, you are implicit, you're inherently racist. There's nothing you can do to remove that racism from yourself, because these systems were built for my melanin level. It's wild, man. It's wild. And these politicians, these young politicians, the what are they called? The band, the group, the people. Yeah, TikTok is right. Is TikTok 60% of the time, it's right every time. It's quite amazing, like what you can learn. It really is. Here's another thing that we're starting to see. The UK is having a big issue right now with freedom of speech. Oh, the pack. That is the pack, the wolf pack. Is that what they are? The pack. Jack Tarlett says, as a self-identifying black woman on the internet, I can tell you it's true. Your whiteness is oppressive. The mere sight of me is oppressive. So it looks like the UK is going through a bit of an issue here, in that it's been arresting people for engaging in wrongthing on Facebook. And that is interesting. And this news story I saw, let me bring it up here. The DPP warns sharing online materials of riots could be an offense. So again, this is one of those issues that starts to fly in the face of free speech. You're unable to share your thoughts on your government and what it is that they're doing wrong. Now, luckily here in the US, we haven't had much to worry about in that aspect. And that, honestly, it's one of those things I want to look into like even more, because sometimes news shared like this can be taken out of context, but it's not one that should be taken lightly. I do think it's something that people need to watch out for. If it's something that's happening, it needs to be, it needs to be spoken about. If you see something, say something. It's scary when the government starts involving themselves in what it is you can and cannot say, and because they don't like what you say, they can send the police to your house and arrest you. Big issue, big problems. Like this is overstepping some very fundamental rights that people have. I said we haven't seen this necessarily in the US, but you're starting to see it elsewhere.
I'm joined by Matthew Thompson now to talk through this. So Matthew, the last point there is crucial, isn't it? Some people might be sharing simply to warn their friends, but it could be considered an offence because they're amplifying this.
Absolutely, and that's the key message, is that however you think you're acting innocently on social media, whatever platform it is, you're just sharing something for whatever reason, that could potentially be a criminal offence. And look, it's not.
So sharing something that you think is important, that's regarding these riots or how they're like what they're even about, could be considered a criminal offense. They can come to your house, knock on your door, and arrest you. it's an issue because essentially what they're doing is drawing a correlation of your actions, a singular person saying something and that causing violence or some sort of criminal activity. You said something, therefore someone else carried out an act of violence.
Not an idle threat either, because the Crown Prosecution Service were keen to point out that they've made a number of charges in relation to stirring up of racial hatred online, one of which this morning was for distributing a recording that could, intending to stir up racial hatred. And so they are actually already bringing charges.
So let's seriously, I want to listen to that again.
Could, intending to stir up racial hatred. Distributing a recording that could, intending to stir up racial hatred. And so
could and maybe intending to stir up, so there's not even sort of a definitive, this is what it is. This is just if some guy in an office thinks that you might be, so again, it's now you're involving political, social bias into the individual. If someone's having a bad day and they don't like what it is that you shared, they can just say, "Oh, I think he intended harm."
They are actually already bringing charges in relation to this sort of thing. So it's a very, very clear message based in the harsh reality, if you like, that if you do this kind of thing, you are potentially committing a criminal offense. There he said it. They've got teams of people scouring the internet looking for this sort of thing. And if you are in the business of sharing or retweeting, whatever platform it might be, potentially criminal material, well, then you could find yourself prosecuted.
And again, the term of criminal material is very ethereal. If you're in the business of sharing criminal material, what is that? You just okay, what is it what is it this thing that you're saying is how are you defining it? Again, it's just someone in an office that it's up to them to decide this is criminal behavior because we don't like it, because it may cause issues somewhere else, or this particular thing happened somewhere and this guy shared something regarding it, so we can now charge him with a crime. It's very, very scary. Again, that's why we have rules against that in the US, anything actionable. If something is a call to action that you're asking someone to go do something, it's not legal to do. You cannot do that. So that's when that's where your freedom of speech stops, right? Yeah. Actually, John D. Shag said something in 2017 and we're going to have him fired and arrested. Jack Tarlet says, we have the Communications Act of 2003 that already uses vague language to allow them to make up charges about speech that should be protected. Right. So it's a blatant violation of what we call our First Amendment rights, our right to freedom of speech. It's scary though. It's scary. Absolutely. And the other thing, there's another, where is it? I'll also bring this up. So I got to find the bigger clip of this. So this is Tim Walz. This is Harris's her running mate. So this is her vice presidential nominee. And I don't want to point out the irony here of what he looks like, but we'll let you all fill in the blanks on this. So this relates to what we were just saying.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Well, we'll play that one more time just so everyone can hear what he said.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
That's the thing. There is, unfortunately. The problem is now is what people need to understand is that there needs to be some sort of, again, people have agency. People are responsible for the things that they say. Absolutely. And what we're seeing is the government trying to police what you say. You can't say this because it could be hate speech. Well, what is hate speech? Speech you don't like to hear? Sure. Is it nice to say stuff that you don't like to hear? No. Should it be illegal? Absolutely not. Because again, you're at the mercy of the people making laws. And make no mistake about it. The people who are making the laws now likely won't be in power for very long. So when that pendulum comes back around and swings back around, the people who weren't in power before are then going to change the laws to their will. It's one of the reasons the whole issue with like prosecuting Trump was such a big thing. Prosecuting your political opponents, like this was a huge deal because now you set a precedent of being able to do it and go after them as a way to remove them from the election. Again, very, very, very slippery slope, and it's not good. It's not a good, regardless of what you think of Trump and his actions and all that. It is a very slippery slope that we're seeing in American politics right now, and it's not good. We're not seeing a lot of good things come out of a lot of it. And this is someone who potentially could be in the White House. And I don't know if he will, if he won't. Right now, this is who Harris has chosen to be his running mate, to her running mate, rather. There's just the election is heating up, 100% heating up, and I hope people are ready for it. And again, in my conversation the other day, I talked a lot about this and how there's a sense of like apathy that consumes me quite a bit, where I think I don't want to care about it anymore. I want to just walk away and be done with it. I want to be done with it. And that's sad because I feel like there is some good that can be done. But it's tiring. It's tiring waking up and thinking about this stuff and talking about it. And even just looking on the timeline and being like, what is this? Like, what am I seeing right now? What am I seeing? I don't even, and part of me wants to say, just most people need to walk away from it. And in many respects, I do think that is an answer to it, because in many respects, I do think that's the answer to it, because I think you could be involved in your local politics and live your life and, be involved with your family. I just don't know. I don't know how much this stuff overall is affecting people. Like when it comes to national, it is what I'm saying. Hi, sir. What's up?
And you buy this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Yeah.
What's for me?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Guess what?
What?
Wait, what? Who's that guy?
That's me. I'm talking to everyone.
Can I meet them?
Well, they're in the chat right now.
Huh?
You can say hello.
Hi.
They're
Well, they're not saying hi back.
just I don't know.
I think they're taking a nice bath.
They're taking a nice bath. Some are saying hi. They're saying, "Hey, little dude."
Hey, little bro. Wait, hold on. Hi, Jared. Hi, Jared, daddies.
Okay,
Can
you gotta go upstairs. Okay, love you.
I talk to them?
Sure, you can say one thing.
Can they have those on just a second? Hi. Guys, hi. Hear me!
Oh, don't yell.
I'm eating a bagel. Okay, bye.
Goodbye.
Bye forever.
Love you, friend. Hey, make sure you. Emperor Doomsday. That's who that bra is.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him Dum Dum. Like a Dum Dum Budgie.
Okay.
I'm gonna. Hey, what is his name?
Emperor Doomsday.
Hey, EmperorDoomsDay. I'm gonna call you Dum Dum Poop Butt.
Bye.
Bye, Dum Dum Poop Butt.
Okay. It's gonna call you Dum Dum Poop Butt. Oh, kids. John D said that's what they want us to do. Yeah, I don't doubt that necessarily, but at some point, I think it's more important to. At some point, I think it's more important to let go and be somewhere. Like there's like true happiness to be had out in the world, and I think people's need to connect with others on like a global scale has hindered that. And again, because we're connected on things like Twitter and Facebook and all this stuff, and we can see all this information, and we've lost sight of the short, like we've lost sight of the small concentric circles near us that were once where we grounded our family and our values and all that stuff. And now we get so caught up in things way outside of our reach. And then politics, like global politics, especially, like that stuff doesn't matter ultimately. Like, are we truly, if we're really being honest with ourselves, are we truly worried that there's like some nuclear disaster coming? Are we truly worried that World War III is at our doorstep? Is that something that, well, at least us here in the US have to worry about? Because I don't think World War III, if that's the thing that's going to happen, I don't believe it looks like the wars of the past. I think it is much different. I think it's maybe we're in it right now. Maybe this will be what is known as World War III. This war of information. It's important to recognize real news and all the rubbish they throw around to hide the real news. Well, again, this is one of those things that and I think this is where I think even small creators like ourselves, like we could probably do some more. We could probably do some more good. Like local newspapers, gone. Like, how do you revive that? like local online newsletters or, online blogs, or do you start like a paper one again? Or do you just keep doing stuff like this and just cover local news on a YouTube channel and put information out that way? Like real on the ground people, like going to sporting events, reporting on those sporting events, going to these disasters, going to these town hall meetings, actually writing down what's going on. And and again, it comes down to like, how do you get to that point? Because obviously there's people who are ideologically like twisted, and the people doing those jobs are often misreporting stuff. But I see people misreport stuff all the time who are on the other side, not just liberals. Like there has to be a way back to. There has to be a way back to, for lack of a better term, like normal life. We're in a spot where I just think we care for too much outside of our own lives. Right? And I've spoken about this before. Like there's something we're missing and forgetting about, like right here. Like most of us are terrible at keeping our own shit together. I'll admit I'm bad at like taking care of my own stuff. But what if I didn't have the outside pressures of like the rat race of the internet, or, of knowing what's going on in even another state? All I had to do was like wake up and do my stuff. Just unplug it. Just take all this stuff that's in front of me, throw it in the garbage. How much happier do you think I could be? I mean, I think that's something that every single person in the chat can ask themselves. If you could tomorrow unplug from the internet, how much happier do you think you would actually be than you are now when you have access to being plugged in all the time, and you can see what's going on everywhere and compare yourself to everyone else out there. When you have nothing left but to compare yourself to yourself, it's likely that you would probably find a little bit more happiness. We just need more kitten videos and the world will be okay. You're probably not wrong. Honestly, you're probably not wrong. I moved from New York City after 30 years to Texas, and I'm so much less stressed than I was there. Yeah. Like Kraken says, one EMP is all it'll take. Yeah. I just don't know. I don't know how likely that is. Like I just feel like we're in such a different place than we were, 70 years ago, 70, 80 years ago, when World War I and World War II were raging on. Like we are truly a global society now, for better or for worse. But I think people are so connected. Like there's no escaping what people see and know. And I do think that there's a lot of good that's still happening out there. And I just don't. I mean, I guess I could see some rogue thing happening, but I don't see a nation like Russia or even Iran or whatever, like taking up arms against us. Like as much as America is the global police, right? Everyone jokes about it. Jack Charles, I just spent the entire week without internet and it was wonderful. Just binged old shows. Oh, it's great. Dude, again, that's what I mean. Like there's so much opportunity out there to just unplug from what we're seeing out there. Life's actually pretty good. Life's actually pretty good. And it's too bad that we're in a place now where, like, I don't think you can't deny the bad stuff that's happening, but at the same time, a majority of your life is pretty damn good. At least I would say most of the people here in the chat. There's other, obviously there's exceptions to the rule. There's no doubt about it. Not everyone who comes across this video is like, oh, my life was great. Yeah, no, some of you have your hardships. There's no doubt. And I don't doubt it. I don't minimize it. I'm saying you got a pretty damn damn good. Just depends. We did let China fly a balloon completely across the country. True, but what has come of that? You know, what has come of that? Certainly not ideal, but what are we like? We haven't heard anything about that since it happened. Genty Maxi, what's up? Invade you in and out, right? Pew pew war, no. Oh, infiltrate you while your Secret Services is distracted when Trump deranged DEI hires, maybe. Yeah, like this will be a much different like World War III. I think that's what you're getting at. I kind of see there. I would need to unplug for a month, but my friends are online. Yeah, like everyone's different. But I think people would see a drastic shift in their overall mental state if they unplugged for an extended period of time. Even, you know, it's just the nature of the beast, man. It's just how it goes. Wasn't that balloon a distraction for something at the time? It very well could have been. It very well could have been. Back to Tim Waltz. There's an interesting thread I saw here that I'll bring up that I think is worth mentioning, as he might be the next vice president. Tim Waltz signed a bill redefining the term sexual orientation to include pedophiles. This is a thread that someone came up with. On 2/13/23, Lee Fink, a trans-identified male, introduced HF number 1655, which redefines sexual orientation. Which reads, so it was amended to read, sexual orientation. Sexual orientation means having or being perceived as having an emotional, physical, or sexual attachment to another person without regard to the sex of that person, or having or being perceived as having an orientation for such attachment. HF 1655, Human Rights Act sections removed that allow for discrimination based on sexual orientation to be recommended to be placed on the general register. Representative Fink moved for H1665582 amendment. The motion prevailed. The amendment was adopted. So the party crossed off was or having being perceived as having a self-image or identify not traditionally associated with one's biological maleness or femaleness. Sexual orientation does not include a physical or sexual attachment to children by an adult. Yeesh. So it's so basically, in the old bill, the definition of sexual orientation delineated which people were protected, making it a violation to discriminate against those falling under the definition. This old definition explicitly excluded pedophiles through the addition of the phrase to the definition. Sexual orientation does not include a physical 1.2 or sexual attachment to children by an adult. That's so weird, man. It's so weird that we live in this world. They think including pedophiles under the umbrella of sexual orientation reflects a modern understanding of sexuality and gender. Here's my take on it, and I think that, I mean, was it Louisiana that has the law that they're going to start like castrating, people who have sexual offenses against minors? Which is probably the smartest thing to do. As we've said many times, shoot these people into the sun. That hold on, sorry. The biggest thing against him is look at the state he comes from. What a mess. Yeah. the idea of here's what I would like to see happen. I don't want to see anyone hurt, not one person, right? Do I want to see people who have a attraction to children in that way fixed? Yes. I don't know how that happens. I don't want to see those people. Hey, Radish Fest, what's up? Came over from Hypnocast. Hey, appreciate you coming over after that was done. Do I want to see these people like cured? Yeah. I don't want to see anyone hurt, least of all children. We got to protect children, and it's dangerous to expose them to a lot of the stuff they're being exposed to, I think. I do not want them hurt in any way like this. But yeah, I think this is taking it too far. Placing them under the umbrella of a sexual orientation is not good. Again, I think it's important we call things what they are, and understanding like, hey, this is a serious condition. And maybe part of it, but I don't know how to. Castration also doesn't stop them from being pervs. It's true. I don't know the answer. I know I don't want those people around children. But I also think, like, I don't know, like killing people over it. It also doesn't serve the purpose. But I mean, make no mistake about it. Messing with kids, innocent kids, is about as fucked up as it gets. And it's just sickening. It's sickening. But knowing that this guy, that Walls was a part of this in signing the bill that redefined the term sexual orientation. And even though, again, it's not necessarily explicit, it's worrisome that you have to worry, that we have to think of this as like this is where this guy could possibly go in the long term. It's, yeah. In terms of war, though, we're seeing. I saw this, Horror Amarada shared this today, and I wanted to make sure I bookmarked it, and we talked about it for a little bit. For those of you that thought my post was my post about no war with Iran was just out of the blue, let me introduce you to SJ Res 106. So the resolution was proposed by Lindsey Graham, and I don't know why you guys can't see it. Oh, because it popped up another page. Sorry. A joint resolution to authorize the use of the United States Armed Forces against the Islamic Republic of Iran for threatening the national security of the United States through the development of nuclear weapons. So that's interesting. I mean, worrisome, to say the least. This is just introduced. Nothing has passed anywhere. But Lindsey Graham, a Republican from South Carolina, proposed this resolution. I'm interested to see where this goes. Very interested to see where this goes. But again, it kind of was speaking to what we were talking about earlier, where, like, is it possible that all-out war could happen? Again, sticking our nose where it might not belong is, again, this is how the U.S. gets its bad name of world policing and being involved in things it just doesn't belong in. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. But again, just introduced. Nothing else has happened so far pertaining to that. Yeah, another important detail is that we did just learn that they discovered that the U.S. has been sending $233 million over the past couple of years to the Taliban by accident. Don't forget though, if you misdo your taxes, you're going to prison. They will hold you accountable for a couple $1,000s, but nobody is holding them accountable for $230 million. So, isn't that fun? It's real fun that again they'll come after Joe somebody from nowhere's Utah for not paying their taxes properly, but their money is just we by accident, whoops. And not just anyone, like Taliban of all people. Taliban. But we're also in a spot too where people are sympathizing with Hamas. So, I mean, one of the most abhorrent terrorist groups of our time. We have people who are like in support of them and waving their Palestine flags around. I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, don't worry. They caught the error. The money won't be refunded, but at least they can be transparent about it. They'll come after you years later and expect the money plus interest. Oh yeah, for sure. But again, the U.S. isn't paying anything back. They're not. There's nothing to do because again, it's money printed. It's printed money anyway. It's not money they actually got from anywhere. Well, sorry guys. Guys need a couple minutes here. I'll be right back. That one hurt. That one hurt, John. No, I was my kids were being kind of mean and unruly to my wife. And she needed help. So I went upstairs and helped her. I apologize. I'm sorry, guys. I appreciate you guys sticking around, though. That was very nice of you to stick around and not abandon me. That'll put hair on her chest. Yeah. That it will. My kids are pretty good for the most part, but like at bedtime when things get bad, they're bad. Did you have a nice combo with the chair? This thing has been through the ringer, let me tell you. Let me tell you. Did I give him some solid bows? Almost. I thought I was going to have to. No, my kids were crying over the fact because we had gotten rid of, like through some of the purging of toys and everything, we had gotten rid of some stuffies that they never played with. And then tonight, 5 minutes ago, all of a sudden they wanted them. And they both were like crying tears that they couldn't have them. Chris Hawks, your show sucks. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate the engagement. That was nice of you. You should come by more often. I'm not like a lot of these people who get offended by things that people say on the internet. I got an anime statue though that makes it great. No. Let's see what there was something here that Kamala said. I want to take a look at this. Let's take a look.
So as governor, he expanded background checks and increased penalties for illegal firearm sales.
Cool. Okay.
And together, when we win in November, we are finally going to pass universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons ban.
You know, for the amount of time that Kamala spent in the White House, you think she would have done something about this already? Call me crazy, but yeah, I think there is an interesting bit of cognitive dissonance that's happening with her. Again, like she is where she is because Biden's incapable of doing it now. Like he's incapable of being in office for the final 4 months, right? And we've seen, like, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, Biden's dead, but he is certainly being kept way out of the public eye right now. Like where before, they would literally throw him in front of the camera whenever they could to try and prove his mental clarity. And since that debate, they were like, oh, shit. And they hid him away. Biden 1, 2, or 3. Yeah, you know, it's weird because there's so many, like, this one's still alive. It's crazy. I want to take a quick look at something real quick. There's got to be an image of him like at multiple stages in life. Because it's astonishing. It's astonishing how much he's changed in the past 10 years. It's crazy. But it is what happens though. People with dementia and Alzheimer's and all that, like they age so incredibly quickly that it's like scary. It's scary how fast they age. Late age cosmetic. It could be that too, though. But people in cognitive decline like that, they age quick, and it's scary. Yeah, like I'm not seeing. I tried to look up like a time lapse of photos for Biden, and I can't find it in Google. Like it's not there. But like this, so this person right here, that person on the right, like, and that person are two incredibly different people. Like it's incredible how different he looks. Yeah. It's like uncanny valley shit where it's like, because even, or where is it? Where's the, it's like something like this. Like he just doesn't, he's just so old. He's so old. And now again, you can't find him. Like they're totally hiding this guy away. And you know, probably for the best, honestly. For the best, honestly. I don't think he needs to be in politics. He doesn't need to be in front of a camera. He doesn't need to be trying to run a country. He needs to be sitting at home with his feet up, drinking a margarita in fucking Delaware, wherever. You know what I mean? Like that's where he belongs. Let this guy go to Nantucket for the rest of his life and just sit on the beach. Sit on his back porch like a normal or old person. Right, I was gonna say, like it's a combination of both. Like he for sure just he needs time away. He needs to just kids don't do Botox. Yeah, man, I'm worried about this the next couple of months. Again, I'm not going to be hyperbolic about anything. I think the political, social commentators are going to go absolutely insane on either side, and I think it's going to, like, just to some degree, I believe you can radicalize people with your audience. Like, I don't think it serves anyone to exaggerate claims of what's going on in the world. I think it's dangerous too, because a lot of these people do have, like, they have millions of people watching and seeing them. You know, again, it kind of goes back to like how mainstream media constructs these narratives about things and force people essentially to believe in half-truths. And it's only caused huge divisions. And I think that some of the political commentators, social commentators, over the past couple of years have done just that. And they just go back and forth. It just serves nobody in the grand scheme of things. They're all trying to radicalize their base to think the way they do. There's no place in the world, I think, for like rational thought or being moderate, which I think is a big problem. I don't think it is a weakness to be moderate in this time. I think the world needs more moderates and understanding that like the world changes at extreme paces. For the most part, we're not going to deal with a lot of shit that we're shown every day. Like our world has become the scene in a Clockwork Orange where the guy's sitting there like just watching everything. Like that's what our world has become. And we do it voluntarily. We're not even forced to do it. We do it voluntarily. But it's also because these things like TikTok and Facebook and Twitter, they're all dopamine loops. They're there to serve your interests and keep you watching. So to some extent, you're strapped to the chair, but you do have control of it. And they know, like it's a science at this point, they know it's going to keep you there. It's why they do what they do. It's why these products are pushed the way they are. In countries like, like China, like they totally restrict this stuff. You're allowed like an hour of like the TikTok we see, and the rest of it is all like science and math and like STEM driven. Well, that's what I mean, John. Like, I mean, I'm not even saying like Asmongold. Like you look at someone like Hassan and Destiny who have huge audiences. Even commentators on the right do the same thing. They're not taking rational approaches to stuff. It's all about like rallying your base to believe the way you do and not giving people the opportunity to like think for themselves on it. That's why I say, like, when I go on and do like a TikTok debate, I make it very clear to the people who I'm like talking to, like, I'm not trying to say you need to live your life in this way. I'm not saying that you need to do what I say. I don't think that's smart. But what I do think is important is that you hear a perspective that is not of your own, because there might be someone in there somewhere that hears something that I say or anyone else says, and they start picking up the pieces on their own. The seeds are sown, and it's up to the individual to water them. And quite honestly, like I don't care to tell people how they live. I have a hard enough time living my own life. I know what works for me. I know what I think might work pretty good. But any side who's trying to force you to do one thing or another is imposing their will on them, and that's not good. I can talk about the things that I think would be good for a society. Most people past 25 don't change their point of view much. That's why they target the children. No, and that's all, that's a lot of it, I think, is by design, right? Like that's why essentially you have schools, is like you teach kids young, and that's when they learn the best. Which channel do you watch? Whichever one you want. They're just all on just in case. I have Shags live on because it'll just be sort of a place that these things go. Just watch on the main channel for now. It's the you could do this. Yes, it's the you could do this versus you better do this or else. Exactly. Exactly. Kids don't even learn through reading old school clock anymore. Yeah, we actually have a big one right in the center of our house. So like when you walk down the hallway, like the kids come out of their room, they take a right, they walk down the hallway. Right at the end of that hallway is a giant like analog clock that they see every single day. I just think it's so important to see that. Being involved in their reading. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like you need to be involved with your kids' lives. You want to break the mold. You want to make a difference in the culture war. Have kids and then teach the kids the right way to live, and make sure your partner is on board and shares the values that you have, because then you guys are. But if you're involved with your kids, if you're talking to your kids and and you're leading as an example of how to live a good life, you will have far more influence over them than anyone else. Now, you know, they're going to have friends that influence them, but you need to teach your kids to be strong. It's a whole, I mean, it's not easy. Raising kids is difficult. If kids aren't learning cursive, then what is their signature? It's a scribble. When I was a kid, I asked a stranger for the time in the mall. He showed me his analog wristwatch. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, but that's all I mean, I don't know. Like growing up, I feel like digital watches were new. Like digital watches were new when I was a kid. Is that like showing my age a little bit? They weren't like brand new, but like Timex was like they were putting out these watches that you're like, oh my God, it's got a timer on it. It's got an alarm. Oh, and it has an indigo light on it. Oh, what? When I was a kid, oh, never mind. I just read that. Not just strong, but also to think critically. Yeah. Being able to, like, teaching kids how to work through a problem. Like even the other day, my wife was like, my son was like trying to move the hose in a way to like wash the car. And by wash, I mean like just spray it with water. But she's like, just do the hose for him. I'm like, no, let him, you know, I'll tell him, like, you just grab the hose, you'd walk it around and blah, blah, blah. And it was just such a cool moment because kids don't know anything. Kids know nothing. And you have to teach them all this stuff. They're testing the world around them, right? They're constantly pushing on the boundaries of life because they don't know what they are. They're literally a blank slate. They don't know anything as they're growing up, and they have to continually touch the electric fences that they come up against to see, like, okay, how much can I push on this? How much can I, mess with this? It's a beautiful thing to watch. And if you're not involved in that process, the kids they might learn, but they might also, they might learn what it's all about, but they also might not. They might just walk away from it. You're there as like the sort of cheerleader to be like, hey, make sure, don't give up. Part of succeeding is not giving up, just picking yourself back up. And sometimes you give up. But the next time is also being there to say, don't give up this time. Like, I know it was hard, but now you have a fresh eye, a fresh mind. Go in there and try again. Like something I realized, this is even a weird case of my own. Like I was noticing with games, like I was playing The Binding of Isaac the other day. I was so bad with The Binding of Isaac a couple of years ago. And for some reason I picked it up again recently, and something was clicking, and I was just doing much better with everything. I was like, oh shit. Like, okay. Like things click after a while, whether it's because your brain matures a little bit, or you just gain a little bit more confidence. You forget about the times you failed, or you've learned in that amount of time, you're able to sort of pick up more knowledge along the way. People don't realize the value in going back to something you may have failed at originally. There's an incredible amount of value in going back to places that you didn't succeed before and trying just again, because you might surprise yourself in that you may have picked up a skill along the way that will lead you into success this time. Don't be afraid to fail, because everyone does. No one gives a shit if you do. No one. Every family has that one child, that kid's pressing the electric fence. Oh, for sure. For sure. So we'll get into this sort of our like final story here. Then we can just like relax a little bit. But I wanted to go through this because some of you have known I've had my reservations regarding Rumble. Like I really want I really want to believe in everything that Rumble is doing. I think they have the best of intentions, but I worry that they got ahead of themselves in some ways, and that happens, right? Because the companies come out, they want to compete with the best of them. They want to show that they're willing to put in the work, that they can get big names, they can convince people to come over. We've seen catastrophic failures in companies like Mixer and Facebook streaming where they don't work out. And even Kick is showing signs that like it probably doesn't have the steam to compete with YouTube and Twitch. You know, Twitch, for all its faults, is a great streaming platform. They got shit policies. Same thing with YouTube. YouTube has some real shit policies, I think. But you know, to be able to stream and to share your video content, that platform, like, there's really nothing better. So Rumble and X have recently, let me bring this up on stage. So Rumble shared this the other day. It says, breaking, Rumble has joined X to sue a cartel of advertisers and ad agencies who conspired to block ad revenue from going to certain platforms and content creators. GARM was a conspiracy to perpetuate an advertiser boycott of Rumble and others, and that's illegal. So wait, what's going on? I want to go here. So they're in the middle of a huge lawsuit. They're starting the steps here. We'll read through the article and kind of go through everything. The video sharing platform and cloud services provider announced that it has joined the social media platform X to file antitrust lawsuits alleging a conspiracy to withhold advertising revenue from Rumble and other digital media platforms. In its filing in the U.S. District Court for the National District of Texas, Rumble named as defendants the World Federation of Advertisers, WFA, as well as the advertising agency WPP and its subsidiary group M Worldwide. The conspiracy centers around an initiative called the Global Alliance for Responsible Media, aka the Ministry of Truth, created by the WFA. That established arbitrary standards for the content on digital platforms where its members may want to advertise. GARM used those one-size-fits-all standards to perpetuate an advertiser boycott against Rumble and other platforms. The suit also notes that GARM has vast reach since it accounts for the 6th largest ad agency holding companies among its members, including defendant WPP. The brand safety standards set by the advertisers and their ad agencies should succeed or fail in the marketplace on their own merits and not through the coercive exercise of market power. Rumble's complaint reads, all of this illegal conduct is done at the expense of platforms, content creators, and their users, as well as the agency's own advertiser clients who pay more for ads as a result for their collusion. The unlawful conduct alleged by Rumble is also a subject of an ongoing investigation by the U.S. House Judiciary Committee in Congress. An interim committee staff report issued in July found that the way GARM was operated in this regard is likely illegal under the antitrust laws and threatens fundamental American freedoms. Rumble is seeking a declaration that the defendant's conduct is illegal, a permanent injunction against the continued conduct, damages, interest, and legal fees, among other relief. I mean, I think, again, Rumble's trying to is always advertised itself as a free speech platform, allowing people to talk and say about the things that they want and not demonetizing them over it. The issue is with that is that these big companies now, like GARM and Google and all that, like Google had a monopoly on everything, and they had no incentive and no law saying that they had to share competitors' information. Again, like YouTube is run by Google, and they don't have to, like when you go and search for a video, Rumble is not going to show up on Google search results. So now we're in a place where it seems like now we're going to start seeing a big shift in that, is that they're going to need to be broken up, and they're going to have to find some way to share other platforms, whether it be Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble, all these other ones that have video in them. And Rumble's trying to be that competitor to YouTube. They want people to put their videos on there and have them be shared. I do think that Rumble, in some respects, got a little bit too big for their britches. But again, I don't know much about their cloud services and all that infrastructure that they're doing. It seemed like a big leap at the time, but I know they're trying to set themselves as an industry standard, as like, we are the video platform, we are the streaming platform, we are for free speech. We're not going to censor you. We're not going to demonetize you because you have an opinion that we don't necessarily agree with, which is awesome. And Chris Pavlovsky seems to be really dug in on that, and it's great to see he hasn't wavered on it. Me personally, I haven't really trusted their analytics. I haven't trusted the numbers I get when I see a live stream. I don't, the analytics on the back end, I don't know if they're real. Now, YouTube has really comprehensive analytics, and, you know, for good reason. I would love to see some analytics in a very similar fashion that YouTube has. But right now, they're pretty bare bones, and I don't always believe what I'm seeing as far as viewership, especially in the beginning. I didn't in the beginning believe that there was that many people watching. DJ Ronnie, it always looked like there was too many viewers. Like the numbers just don't seem like in every other platform. Like if there's 20, if it says that there's 20 people here or 19 people here, that means there's 19 people that are currently on this video live watching it. On Rumble, I don't think that's the case. And that's, again, that's part of the issue. I think as of right this second, if your video is on the homepage and people can see it, that's counting as a view, which is misleading. I believe in their message, and don't get me wrong, I believe in their message and what they want to do. Shag just doesn't realize how much he's appreciated. Maybe they're padding random viewers, but even that would be odd. Yeah, and again, it's not. It's it looks good for the streamer. The count on X is impressions. That's the other issue. X has a long way to go when it comes to its video video stuff. Twitter shows total impressions of your video. So it'll show you how many times your video has been seen by other people. Again, another problem. So if I've had some nights where I'll be streaming to X on StreamYard, and I'll see like, oh, we have 200 viewers. Well, no, StreamYard doesn't know how to delineate between impressions and live viewers, which again is misleading for those who are keeping track of their statistics. Let's take a look at this. Twitter, Rumble, YouTube, and so on, they all have bot issues on top of the padding. Yeah, I think it's a little bit worse with like Rumble currently, and maybe even Kick. Dang, how many pages is this? It's like 25 pages. Why is this? I'm gonna move this over here. Yo, what's up, Paul? Good to see you, man. All right. For its complaint against defendants of each plaintiffs, Rumble USA and Rumble Canada, collectively Rumble, alleged based upon personal knowledge and information and beliefs as follows. This is an antitrust action relating to a cartel of compete. You know, using a word like cartel to me is always like, ugh. Acting with and through the World Federation of Advertisers initiative called the Global, and we already kind of read this part. Prior to the conspiracy orchestrated by and through GARM, advertisers and their agencies made unilateral decisions about the suitability of advertising on a given platform, evaluating whether doing so struck the right balance of gaining access to consumers at a competitive price while mitigating the risk of their advertisements appearing alongside content they may be inconsistent with the marketing plans of their brand. Basically saying they find it problematic and don't want their brand associated with companies like Rumble or X. In a competitive market, advertiser agencies would compete with one another over their ability to place their customers' ads according to their customers' individual preferences and marketing plans. Platforms would also compete with one another to provide a variety of content that could appeal to different users as well as different advertisers. One aspect of this competition is in the standards those platforms apply that govern whether ads may appear alongside particular types of content. Some advertisers might choose to access more expensive advertising on platforms with more restrictive standards, running the risk that the competitors would get similar reach at a lower price by placing advertisements on other platforms with less restrictive standards. Sorry, give me 1 second. In companies all the time decide to not advertise on a particular, like with a particular company, because it might not align with their ideals. The problem comes in when you are running, in my opinion, when this does become, when you are conspiring with others to essentially like demonetize these platforms. In a competitive market where advertisers could choose to place advertisements on platforms with varying standards, both advertising agencies and platforms would incur costs in the attempts to cater to the preferences of advertisers. Prior to GARM, advertising agencies used their own resources to identify platforms that met their client standards and worked with individual platforms to ensure the standards were being met. With GARM in place, advertising agencies no longer needed to devote their individual resources to this process because GARM uses the market power of its members and their clients to force platforms to submit to GARM's demands. So this is basically saying the advertising agencies should work on behalf of the customer directly with these companies like Rumble, but now GARM is taking over all of that and making unilateral decisions that exclude or include certain platforms. Rob Altus says, Google updates and adds features they like, not necessarily what benefits the users because they have a monopoly. Absolutely. GARM accomplished this by threat of exclusion by GARM members and their clients for non-complying platforms. Indeed, GARM used actual and threatened advertising boycotts to achieve its conspiratorial aims. I feel like, so as far as a lawsuit goes, when it comes to like Twitter or X rather, I think Elon in some regards shot himself in the foot because he told advertisers to go fuck themselves, like right on TV on a huge interview. So I do think that he might be in a precarious spot because of that. Rumble, on the other hand, hasn't been as vocal with stuff or as public, I don't think. So I think that might hurt Elon in the long run against these guys, but yeah. The Sherman Act prohibits such concerted activity. The brand safety standards sought by advertisers and their advertising agencies should succeed or fail in the marketplace on their own merits and not through the coercive exercise of market power by the advertising agencies, acting collectively to promote their own economic interest by restricting output, agreeing to price-related terms, and boycotting industry participants that do not join their conspiracy. All of this illegal conduct is done at the expense of platforms, content creators, and their users, as well as the agency's own advertiser clients who pay more for ads as a result of their collusion. As a condition of GARM membership, GARM's members agree to adopt, implement, and enforce GARM's brand safety standards, including by withholding advertising from social media platforms deemed by GARM to be non-compliant with GARM's brand safety standards. So this likely goes back to things like hate speech and stuff. Again, this is something I've said. Let me just take this down for 1 second. This is something that I've said is the issue. When you start rebranding language as harmful, like actually using the word harm to describe words, this is when things like this work their way into company policies, where an agency like GARM is not working with people because something that a company believes or individuals believe or say might be harmful to another individual. It contributes to your words are violence. Your words can harm someone else when that's not true. Sure, people can be butthurt over what is being said, but no one is actually being harmed by a platform allowing people to just speak their mind. End of story. And Rumble is a US-based company which falls under the Bill of Rights, under the US Constitution. Our speech is protected. The end. Freedom of speech is harmful. It is. I mean, it's harmful in that people are allowed to say things that they might otherwise not want to hear. But it's not harmful in the way they want you to believe it is. And again, companies like GARM will do this thing that they will make policies that exclude people like Rumble and X because they believe that there's actual harm being done. And that's just simply not the case. Pursuant to the conspiracy, many major advertising agencies, including defendants WPP, and its subsidiary Group M Worldwide, and numerous non-defending co-conspirators, agreed not to place client advertisements on platforms like Rumble that do not adopt GARM's one-size-fits-all brand safety standards. Because GARM requires its members to adhere to its policies, the conspirators' boycott of Rumble and other platforms effectively extended to all GARM members and their advertising clients. These actions are against the unilateral self-interest of the advertising agencies and advertisers. They make economic sense only in furtherance of a conspiracy performed with the confidence that a sufficient portion of competing advertising agencies and advertisers will do the same. They allow the conspiring advertising agencies to avoid competing for the best return on investments for their clients' advertising and negate the risk that a competing agency or brand would step in to take advantage of the opportunity to reach additional potential customers at a lower cost. If advertising agencies were competing with one another on their ability to place ads consistent with an advertiser's individual marketing preferences, some would individually choose to place advertisers on Rumble's platform and receive exposure to Rumble's audience at a lower price than other options, gaining a competitive advantage. And I see what they're saying here. It's, again, I hope Rumble wins this because I'm sure basically what they're arguing is that there's companies within, there's advertisers within GARM, members of GARM, that would want to advertise with Rumble, but they're not allowed to because it's against their policy to be on there. They're not allowing. Yeah, it would cost them so much, right? The harm caused by GARM's actions instead extends far beyond the defendants and their co-conspirators, because GARM counts as its members the world's 6 largest agency holding companies, including defendant WPP. It strongly incentivizes individual advertisers to join the conspiracy or risk losing out on the benefits and efficiencies of representation by a major advertising agency. If an agency does not agree to GARM's terms and brand safety standards, it cannot work through an ad agency that is a member of GARM. See, that's crazy. That's crazy. If an advertiser does not agree to GARM's terms and brand safety standards, it cannot work through an ad agency that is a member of GARM, or at minimum will have to work independently of the agencies for campaigns targeting social media platforms that do not conform to GARM standards. That's nuts, because GARM, as we've learned, is like 1/6, is like the biggest, like the 6th biggest agency. That's crazy. That's crazy. This means that an advertiser cannot reap the benefits of representation by a GARM agency if it chooses to implement its own brand safety standards and advertise with platforms as it sees fit. Imagine having control over who you advertise with. Nope, GARM doesn't want that. They want all of that for themselves. Advertisers might desire to place advertisements on platforms like Rumble to gain competitive advantage by maximizing the reach of their advertisements for a lower price. But GARM creates strong economic incentives for them to forego this potential advantage if they wish to work through an advertising agency. Yeah, it's likely they do. I would imagine a lot is weighing on Elon here to foot a lot of the bill of this lawsuit. I don't know what Rumble's like war chest looks like as far as like their legal war chest. I don't know if they can compete with this, if GARM drags out this this whole thing. The unlawful conduct alleged in this complaint is currently the subject of an active investigation by the Committee of the Judiciary of the House of Representatives of Congress. The House Judiciary Committee's investigation has included reviewing documents submitted to the committee in response to subpoenas issued to GARM and interviewing the senior GARM executive. Ow, cat. The House Judiciary Committee used an interim staff report on July 10th, 2024. I wouldn't want Elon against me either, man. The report concluded the extent to which GARM has organized its trade organization and coordinates actions that rob consumers of choices is likely illegal under the antitrust laws and threatens fundamental American freedoms. This information uncovered to date of WFA and GARM's collusion conduct to demonetize disfavored content is alarming. Is likely illegal under the antitrust law. So this is again, like I feel like where a lot of this stuff is coming from is like, okay, someone said that we likely have a case here. Now we should probably move forward with this. And with Google being a monopoly anyway. The committee's investigation into defendants and their co-conspirators' conduct is ongoing and has the potential to unearth even more violations of the antitrust laws by the participants. Plaintiff Rumble is a Delaware corporation with its principal place of business in Florida, is publicly listed on the NASDAQ exchange, the ultimate parent company of Rumble entities. I didn't know they're out of Delaware. Let's see. The WFA committee is responsible. Wait, defendant World Federation of Advertisers is an international not-for-profit association. Of course they are. Organized under the laws of the Kingdom of Belgium and headquartered in Brussels, Belgium, that maintains an office in New York, New York. GARM is a committee of the WFA and reports to the WFA Executive Committee, comprised of many of the world's largest advertisers. WFA and GARM have members located in this district, and WFA engages in a substantial volume of commerce throughout the United States and this district. The WFA executive committee is responsible for the administration, representation, and management of the WFA and its activities. Through the WFA executive committee, WFA is dominated and controlled by competing advertisers and is dedicated to promoting their collective economic interests. According to WFA, is the only global organization representing the common interests of marketers. It brings together the biggest markets and marketers worldwide, representing roughly 90% of global marketing communication, spend almost $900 billion annually. WFA champions responsible and effective marketing communications. That is nuts, y'all. Essentially, you're looking at a monopoly, is what you're looking at. At the very least, this company is a monopoly that should be busted up immediately. Defendant WPP is a multinational holding company based in London, England. It is one of the largest marketing and advertising holding companies in the world. Through its subsidiary Group M, WPP engages in substantial volume of commerce through the United States, and in this district, WPP is a member of GARM. Defendant Group M, headquartered in New York. New York is part of the multinational holding WPP. Group M owns for. What are you doing? The cat's like rubbing on the microphone. Sorry. What? That was weird. Okay, I think I'm back now. I think we're back. Nice. I thought shags.exe stopped responding. No. Okay. Where were we? Venue. Okay, let's look at the factual allegations. You're about to Alt F4. Since 2013, Rumble has operated an online video platform whose founding business model has been premise upon helping the little guy gal video content creators monetize their videos. Video content creators upload their copyright protected videos to the Rumble platform or its mobile app for users to view and interact with. Funny though, they don't really they allow people to violate copyright, which is kind of strange. Rumble monetizes creators' content in a variety of ways, including by placing digital advertisements alongside, before, during, and after their videos. Rumble can also make those videos available under license to other companies that have websites or other social media sites and that want to make those videos available to visitors to their sites in order to generate advertising revenue. Rumble and its content creators receive advertising revenue from the advertisements that are made available to viewers of their content. Rumble seeks to protect a free and open internet, and its content moderation policies comply with all relevant laws and reflect that goal. Rumble's commitment to freedom for its users and content creators is not just a philosophical choice, but also a commercial one. Social media platforms need to gather a sufficient number of both users and content creators to create a quality experience for their users and to derive sufficient advertising revenue to offset the costs of hosting their platform. The market for social media platforms is competitive, and platforms seek ways to differentiate themselves and attract users and content creators. While many of Rumble's competitors have adopted restrictive content and monetization policies, Rumble has seen explosive growth, in part because it attracts users and content creators looking for a platform that promotes freedom of expression. Rumble has also adopted policies that are friendlier to content creators than the policies of competing platforms. On Rumble, content creators can monetize their videos immediately without first needing to build a certain number of followers, and content creators receive a greater share of revenue generated by advertisements. Content creators also have been attracted to Rumble's platform because they are confident that their content will not be suppressed or removed if Rumble disagrees with their views that they express. These content creators, in turn, attract users to Rumble who are seeking out voices that might be unavailable or suppressed on rival platforms. Here's the issue, though, something I'll say regarding this. At some point or another, Rumble is going to have to make the choice of, sorry, Lev. It's going to have to make the choice of how it pushes out content or promotes content that is popular and makes them money. Like, that's just how it's going to go. I don't yes, it does try and promote the little guy and do that. But again, I don't know how transparent they've been with their analytics. I don't know, they say these things, but I don't know if it's really been put out there. And at some point or another, they need to think about the money that they're making. It's expensive to run platforms like this. And if they don't find a way to really make money and push to content to people that is being viewed, like their top people, then they're not going to make money. You can't always just promote the little guy, because the other issue is when everyone's special, nobody's special. So if you bring everyone up to the top, then there's no incentive to go there. You need to let the cream rise. Rumble has chosen not to implement monetization policies that are based on GARM's preferred brand safety standards. Because of this, Rumble forgoes spending significant resources on brand safety efforts, which allows it to offer advertising space at a lower price than other platforms that do invest resources in complying with restrictive brand safety standards. Instead, Rumble offers advertising flexibility to choose the types of content and individual content creators that their advertisers appear alongside. In order to provide advertisers with a quality experience, Rumble has developed the Rumble Advertising Center, a tool that allows advertisers the freedom to customize and control their campaigns with real-time bidding, extensive targeting, and high-value placement. I don't know much about their advertising center. I imagine it's probably very similar to how Facebook does it. I'm just guessing. Rumble began a period of significant growth in 2020. At the time, when many competing platforms began introducing more restrictive content moderation and monetization policies, Rumble attracted many new users and content creators through its commitment to freedom of expression and promoting the interests of content creators. From 2020 to 2023, Rumble increased its monthly active users 36 times over. The average age and household income of Rumble users is also higher than that of many competing platforms, making Rumble's audience quite uniquely attractive to many advertisers. Yet, so far, Rumble has not seen a growth in advertising revenue commensurate to its explosion to its user popularity, even after initiating efforts to monetize the platform's content. That is because the timing of Rumble's growth coincided with the creation of GARM and the formation of the defendants' conspiracy not to advertise on Rumble and other platforms that would not implement their required standards. Rumble needs content that is not only political and news-oriented. Much of YouTube are useful videos such as how-tos. I agree, Rob. Again, one of the issues is those videos making out to the general public. One of the things too, I remember when Camelot was looking for help with advertising and sponsorship, you know, I definitely tweeted at Rumble and said, hey, you guys should get on his car. Like, let people know who you are, get the word out to people so they can start looking on Rumble, for you. Because I don't think enough people know who Rumble is. And that's a big, big issue. No one's going to Rumble to look for, how to build a deck. Everyone's going to YouTube for their how-to videos on everything. It's beginning to sound like a Rumble cope. Yeah, there is other content on there, but not nearly as much as the political stuff. The role of advertising agencies and brand safety standards. In the market for digital advertising on social media platforms, advertising agencies play an important role in assisting their advertiser clients with the design, placement, and evaluation of their campaigns. Advertising agencies help with the clients determine which social media platforms to choose advertisements and the amount they should spend in different platforms for their campaigns. One of the roles of an advertising agency is to help the client navigate potential risks when placing advertisement on a social media platform. Among other things, advertising agencies help their clients ensure that their advertisements are being viewed by their target audience in a contextual environment that does not cause potential reputational harm for their branding being advertised. For instance, if an advertisement for a brand were to appear before a video promoting illegal activity, consumers might react negatively by associating the brand with the video or believing that the brand endorsed the message. This could in turn hurt the sales of the brand or convince consumers to switch to a competing brand. Reducing the risk of such a reputational and commercial harm is referred to in the advertising industry as brand safety, and advertiser agencies and social media platforms typically develop their own standards for ensuring brand safety for advertisements placed alongside content on social media platforms. That's fair. Like, makes sense to me. YouTube done it first. They've been at it for longer. Rumble isn't going to be a competitor for at least a decade. Yeah, I do think that's a really good point, Krabby. Yo, what's up, Hypnotic? How's it going, bro? Good to see you, man. Google will win. They are too big to lose. They tried to break up Microsoft back in the 90s and early 2000s and never got to first base. But yeah, I do, and that's the thing is Google's pockets are really deep. And that's something that we're going to see play out. We'll see what kind of power that X and Rumble really have. Yeah, and I agree, King. Them being a free speech platform kind of makes them the de facto like political platform, for better or for worse. it's great to have that platform, but again, like when you run on the fact that you are a freedom of expression platform, well, you've just entered the political arena, whether you like it or not. In a competitive market, each social media platform implements content standards and brand safety tools that are optimal for that platform and its users, while advertising agencies and their advertiser clients unilaterally select the platforms on which they advertise by comparing the cost of advertisements on the platform with the standards and tools and the platform offers for brand safety. Maintaining brand safety standards requires a platform to extend significant resources to monitor content on its platform and develop tools and policies that govern the placement of ads alongside its content. Therefore, platforms in a competitive market compete with one another for advertising revenue by choosing how to invest resources in different brand safety standards. Some platforms may choose to invest more resources into establishing and maintaining brand safety standards and pass those costs along to advertisers by charging higher prices for advertising space. Other platforms may choose other advertisers lower prices and implement brand safety standards that allow advertising alongside a greater variety of content, allowing advertisers to decide which content to monetize through advertisements. So essentially, GARM is eliminating this whole thing. GARM is basically saying to the companies and advertisers, you can't negotiate this. We have set standards. We negotiate. You sit back and relax. But if you are trying or choose to engage with these companies, we are not going to allow you as a member of GARM. And Rumble happens to be one of those. So now, again, this whole thing is to say that X and Rumble are saying that's unfair. You control 90% of the market. You can't do that. It's unlawful. And you need to stop, essentially. Through this competitive process, platforms develop and adopt the brand safety practices that best serve their interests to attract advertisers while maintaining freedom and profitability for the creators who post content on their platform. At the same time, advertisers agencies would consider the brand safety needs for their individual clients to determine which platform meets a client's needs. Advertisers have different brand safety risks. For instance, brands that aim their advertisements at children or their parents face higher risks that their advertisements might run alongside content that could cause reputational and commercial harm to their brand, such as appearing alongside content meant for adults. In contrast, some brands might even seek out the very content that poses risk for other brands. For instance, the advertisers for a new first-person shooter game would likely want their advertisements to be placed next to content related to other first-person shooter video games to attract potential customers, while many brands would not want their advertisements associated with the depiction of violence. Duh, I think we all know that. It all seems like a way to control speech. If it was only how-to videos, there wouldn't be so much blowback. Yeah, I mean that's essentially what it's become. Like this whole thing, like GARM is a relatively new industry, so it was likely formed out of all the BS that has transpired over the past couple of years, largely centered around, freedom of speech. Someone said earlier that COVID was essentially like a really large experiment for people, for the powers that be, and what people were willing to put up with or not put up with, and what they were able to get away with, So, and this is just another one of those things. This is just another one of those things that now this is just a way to control what people can and can't say and get paid for it, right? You're controlling the flow of money now. You're controlling how money is spent or not spent, and that is in and of itself really bad. And this group they spend or make over spend over $900 billion a year. They control 90% of the market. Like, it's through and through a monopoly. In June 2019, WFA and some of its members established GARM as a forum. See, in June 2019, bro, in June 2019, WFA and some of its members established GARM as a forum to promote their economic interest of advertisers and their agencies in connection with advertising on social media platforms. GARM's members include advertisers, advertising agencies, and social media platforms. If you don't think for 1 second that there isn't some connection with all this, it could be coincidence. It could be coincidence. But June 2019 is just way too suspicious in my eyes. I mean, maybe that tinfoil hat's a little too tight on my head, but damn. Sorry. Ugh. Rob Rakowitz, who co-founded GARM with WFA, while employed as the head of global media at Mars Incorporated, a founding WFA member, Mr. Rakowitz is currently the initiative lead for GARM. Mr. Rakowitz claimed in his testimony to the House Judiciary Committee that he is part of a very significant decision made by GARM. I wonder if this video exists. Ooh. Damn, it's 4 hours long. Holy shit. We'll watch a little. We'll take a look at a little bit of this. We've read about a third of the document so far. Why can't I hear it? What? Hold on. Hold up. Why isn't this? Why can't I hear it? I really wanted to it's 4 hours long, but I would like to look at a couple of spots in here. This is only a problem if freedom of speech is harmful, but I disagree. What the hell? Yeah, I don't know why there's no sound. That's really weird. What are you doing? Oh wait, Ben Shapiro was involved in this? Global Alliance for Why isn't this? We'll have to take. I definitely want to take a look at the video more closer. It's 4 hours long though, so I'm not going to bore us with that. It's gnarly though. The whole thing is crazy. I hope Rumble wins. I hope, like, from what we've read so far, the Garm thing is crazy. I didn't realize, and this is from, it was about a month ago that all this like really went down. So it's fairly recent. It's fairly recent. Someone shared something with me. Maybe. That's funny. My cat is just laying on my desk right now. What do you guys think? I do think, I don't know. I think and I hope that these good people will prevail. I hope that there is. I mean, I hope these people are held to task. The ones that are, pushing Garm forward. Yeah. I think it's going to do it tonight, guys. I think it's going to do it for us here at SHAGCAST. Beep, 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 beep. One of the things that that I'll benefit from doing a show like this is I'll be able to keep myself a little bit healthier. One of the things that kind of spawned out of, I mean, at the beginning of the year, I had some pretty major health issues, and it's one of the reasons that we kind of stepped back, and I stepped back in the sort of revamping of my own schedule and not doing the midweek hump anymore and going to SHAGCAST or anything more solo. It allows me to not feel obligated to be up late, and I can have a more regular schedule overall. And one of the things I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pursue game dev a little bit more and learning coding and getting involved with Unity and Unreal Engine. And I need time to do that. And as much as it saddens me, I need to take time to do that stuff and learn. I need to know when to forego the stuff that I want to do for the stuff that I need to do. There's a bit of delayed gratification that needs to take place, and now's the time to do it. So I don't have all the time in the world like some do. I wish I could spend way more time with you guys and making content, but the truth of the matter is I have limited time and resources, so I got to use it wisely. And right now, right now. I am stretched as thin as possible, and this is what I can offer. I look forward to it. Tomorrow night, though, tomorrow night is going to be a new episode of Ready, Set, Shag. We have Kenzo joining us. Art by Kenzo. He's going to be joining us to talk about what he does, the things that he's been doing, where he's going to go. I'm excited to speak with him and get back in interviews. There's a lot of cool people I am talking to this month and trying to get on for September. And September's a weird month because I'm going away for 2 weeks to Hawaii. So I'll be very busy for those 2 weeks, and you won't see me online at all, which will be great. But I want to thank you guys again. Really thank you from the bottom of my heart for sticking with it, for being here, for listening to me rant tonight. We talked about a lot of different things, and there's a lot going on in my life. But a lot of great things have happened over the past few weeks and months, and a lot of great things will continue to happen. And I look forward to growing with you guys as a content creator, and also learning how to create games, because it's time people started creating dope shit and making games that's better than what's coming out. So we're putting together a team for that as well. King Deplorables, thank you so much. Metastep, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. Jack Tarlad's been here. Metastep, Emperor Doomsday, thank you so much. Krabby Patty, appreciate you, dude. Rob Altus, thank you for hanging out tonight. Hypnotic stopped by as well. Thank you, dude. Butter Cafe, appreciate you, man. DJ Ronnie G, thank you very much, bro. Always good to see you. John D, always a pleasure, man. Who else stopped by? Jen T. Maxey was here earlier. Thank you so much, Jen. Always great to see you as well. Paul Hadouken was here. And what else we got? We had a heckler earlier. That was fun. It was really nice of him to stop by. Arkasul was here tonight as well. Thank you, buddy. Leonard Ghostel, thank you so much for stopping by. And Release the McCracken. Thank you guys so much. I'm out for tonight. We'll see you guys next time. Love y'all. See ya.
I like to put stuff online.